I started Discovery Land Company approximately 10 years ago with a project in Scottsdale called Estancia.
We were involved with a very, very special piece of land and created a very distinctive and unique golf course.
We went out and looked for great pieces of property that were zoned and entitled for golf and resort amenities. And we started off in Scottsdale and then took the company to a lot of different locations from the Bahamas to Hawaii. The way we look at real estate is the land is the most important component of any real estate project. What we try to do is put our projects in unique locations on beautiful pieces of property.
They look for great locations, great properties, and great markets, and they call us and say, we have this piece of land, come and look at it, and let's get started.
At Madison, as you can see, we had a flat field. So I went to Tom Fazio and I said, we want to create the greatest club in the desert. And if anyone who knows the Palm Spring area, well, there's a lot of great clubs. It's probably the mecca of golf, in the United States.
Tom has such great vision and such great enthusiasm for wanting to build special places. And Mike Meldman has that same thing. He wants the best of the best.
We've got such a fabulous relationship with Tom Fazio. We feel like they're more part of the family than they are consultants or golf course designers that we work with.
It takes a lot of dedicated, talented people. That's the way to give our clients the best service, and that each golf course is distinctive, unique, and special.
The whole idea came to create our own environment. We wanted to create a old world golf course. I said, Tom, let's create a Bel Air and Riviera. And he took me seriously, and he did.
The Madison Club, from a golf course standpoint, is probably one of the best golf courses in the desert, if not one of the best golf courses in the country.
It's big enough, it's wide enough, yet it's so challenging that all levels of players can play this golf course and still have the same amount of fun.
We both want to create the best product that's humanly possible. Everything's got to be great, whether it's the golf course design, the golf course maintenance, the driving range, the food, and the clubhouse, the service, the spa.
Mr. Meldman wanted to match great golf course condition with a great experience from all the other sides of a club from a service standpoint.
Our main goal is to kind of exceed the members' expectations. We go behind the scenes and actually get to find out different things about the members' wants, likes, from the golf balls they play to their shoe size to what they like after the fourth hole.
We like to stay small and intimate because you're able to provide a much higher level of service.
Every company talks about having service. This is one of the few companies that actually, I think, delivers it.
Like on the golf course, if you go to our comfort stations, we have a variety of foods and snacks.
When I come around to the 17th hole, we'll have a fresh lemonade stand for them. So we're going to kind of really touch them all the way around the golf course to really make their day full of surprises, but full of fun as well.
From the moment a member steps over the threshold of the clubhouse, our desire is that they want for nothing because we know what they want.
We kind of put our A-team together of all our people from all across the country and all brought them here to Madison to create kind of the super teams.
There's excitement, there's quality, there's entertainment, there's always a pulse, there's always something going on.
The golf course is the anchor amenity, but what we try to do is take advantage of all the recreational amenities that are indigenous to the area. So in Montana, the idea is to teach you how to fly fish and wakeboard and camp. And in Hawaii, we try to make you surf and become acclimated to the water. So it's much more than just a golf club. We believe very much in the generational aspect of these properties. And we feel that if people are going to pay high prices, for their lots and for their homes, that it's much easier to do that when you're investing basically in your family.
Well, you see a great golf course behind me. We're much more than a golf course here at Madison or any one of the Discovery Land companies. We're a place where memories are made. And the memories are either made on a golf course, they're made fly fishing with your son, they're learning to wakeboard. These are all things that are done together.
The Madison Club is meant to be the crown jewel of our portfolio.
We can make Madison just the greatest place on earth.
It's not just the great first hole and a finishing hole, and it's not just the great service. It's all of those. because there's so many of them that are special.
The course was designed and meant to be the best course that you could create and build, and I think from the initial reaction that we've accomplished that.
You can sit around and theorize about what golf design is and what your dreams are for a golf course, but you really need to have the client and the person to allow you to do that.
When you see a finished product on a site like the Madison Club, it's typically the result of a year to 2 years worth of work before anything ever happens. That would include the design process.
You can't sit in an office and put something on paper that's going to work or it's going to be the best. So we go and we walk it in the field.
The eastern boundary of the site would be Monroe Street, where you see the date palms in the distance out here. It's about a mile. And then the south boundary would be Avenue 54, which is about where the row of tamarisk trees is there. That's on the other side of 54. And then Madison Street, which is pretty much where the alignment of these poles are. That's the western boundary of the property.
And we'll take an initial attempt at routing the golf course on the property and take a look at it and make adjustments from that. And after that, we go out and try to build the sucker.
The Madison Club was an assemblage of historic ranch properties. It was operated that way for 60, 70 years. And you had all the attendant things that you would have with ranches on the property, like old houses, barns, fences, corrals. Before we could do anything related to starting the new project, we had to deal with the old land use.
Nobody likes to do demo because it's nasty. We had about 20 beehives out here. Everybody got stung. We had machines going one way and the guys jumping off and their machines are going out of here. It was unbelievable.
It's like remodeling a house and you remove a pile of trash that's been on the property and you find that there are things in there where it creates more work for you, or you have 3 more projects where you thought you had 1.
I think there's 480 acres that we cleaned. This was a big job. This is the biggest one that we've done.
What I do is I do the layout. I take the set of plans that the engineers has wrote up and I'm able to translate it in a form that the people on the equipment know what they need to do, whether they need to cut the dirt out or place the fill to create whatever contours the engineer has designed us to do.
It's hard to describe how exciting this really is today to get started on the site. What we're looking at is the culmination of about a year's worth of work for us that led to our ability this morning to come out here and start moving dirt. The site that you see today is going to undergo a tremendous transformation.
Moving earth and planting vegetation are the 2 biggest elements to create the Madison Club.
You really can't do much with flat ground. No matter what you do, no matter how great the background is, if you don't have some kind of contouring, you're just going to feel like you're out in the middle of the desert.
There's actually almost a mathematics of golf, so to speak. When you're building on a severe site, you have to move more dirt to make it a playable golf course. It's just the realities of it.
We've moved about 5 million cubic yards of dirt, which is probably more than any golf course that I'm familiar with.
The guys that are out here that are doing this, they're some of the best earth movers that are in the market here.
What we do is we go into a mound of dirt, go in and pick it up, start on our edges, work our way down, take that dirt and move it to another spot and build up pads or different parts of the golf course.
If you're on the surface, you see these power lines, you see houses, and so that's why we're cutting down and putting berms along the edges so you can't actually see anything at surface. Those mounds are quite a miles away, but that's going to be the background.
What we look for is for them to deliver a grading that's seamless between the golf and the residential, so you don't see these clumsy connection points. Everything flows really well in the landform, and it looks like it actually could have happened that way.
Right behind us is going to be a lake. It doesn't look like much of a lake now, but you can kind of see where we start up top there and how far down you have to cut.
The cuts were up to 35 to 50 feet deep, which is fairly unusual for the desert.
It can be smooth process, but most of the time it's pretty rough. A lot of people can't handle it. They come and go, but tough guys stay.
Water is the key to moving dirt. That's really what's driving the production rate. The more water, the more dirt you can move.
Dust. Whoever thinks about dust?
Town of La Quinta.
The town of La Quinta.
If it's too dusty, you can't move the dirt. It kind of just falls in on itself and it doesn't stay compacted.
My name is Jose Zavala, and I'm the site observer here for the Madison Club. Site observer takes care of all the dust control, make sure everything is in compliance with AQMD regulations. If AQMD comes out here and he's just somebody making dust, he can say, okay, making dust, that's $10,000. If that dust travels more than 100 feet, that's another fine. Fines can go from $10,000 to $100,000 in just one single violation.
We have this polymer glue that we spray on the ground, and it really seals up the ground, and it really is the only other way to combat the dust than watering it.
We get warnings, but we do give citations. We can find the people for making dust. Now on several projects, they know me as Captain Dust.
After the mass grading, things don't translate as well from the plan to out in the field, and so we bring in these very experienced and talented shapers.
My name is Mark McMillan, and I work for Wadsworth Golf, and I am a shaper.
My name's Matt Flint. I work for Oliphant Golf, and I'm a shaper.
My name's Scott Winchester. I'm out here working for Oliphant Golf Construction, and I'm a shaper. We shape all the fairways, bunkers, and greens, and then also dial in the fairways and get them to look like a golf course.
They work with the designer in the field, you know, every day, just with a lot of hand movements, a lot of shaping. They throw the plan out the window once the shapers get there.
And then it's really up to us to make sure that the architect gets what he wants, you know, that we can fulfill his vision in the dirt.
My dad shaped, all my uncles shaped, my brother shaped, cousins shaped.
To me, it's the most rewarding thing. It all comes up to the guy in the seat of that machine.
We're real sensitive. Don't drive on our stuff as we're finishing it.
It's shaping the earth. There's surfboard shapers, right? They shape surfboards. We shape dirt, we shape golf courses.
There's quite an infrastructure underneath the grass out there. Put the deepest things in the ground first. Start with the drainage first, and then on top of that, you got to put the irrigation in.
This is a big golf course. It's 250 some odd acres of golf, which is a lot. The trees kind of mirror that. We planted, I think, a little over 2,000 trees, and they're very large, as you see. They're very big in scale, and that kind of fits with the big scale out here.
Ever since we knew that we were going to do this project and had the whole theme of big trees, really great character trees is what we like to call them, we started procuring those trees before the construction started. We had our tree broker go out and start just scouring Southern California, all the nurseries, trying to find the trees they wanted.
They'll be planting trees ranging from 10 feet tall all the way up to 30, 40, and 50 feet tall.
We brought in a lot of trees that aren't quite so common to the area, some pine trees. We do have the typical, palm trees out there, but they really made them look good around the water features.
It was a stroke of brilliance, I think, for the design team and our ownership to make the commitment to the type of plant palette and material that was brought in.
We get the architect's design of the green 81 staked, We then core the green out. We'll core it out 18 inches below grade. That'll allow for the drainage of the green, the sub-gravel that goes in 4 inches, and then the 12 inches of greens mix.
The greens are anywhere from 3,900 square feet on the 3rd hole to almost a 1/3 of an acre on the 15th hole. So there's a tremendous amount of variation in the green sizes, which is a little bit larger than we probably anticipated when we started the process. And the reason that the average green square footage grew was simply a reaction to the scale that we had out here. The way we look at greens, they're set up left to right, right to left, across the line or straight away. And what that means is from where a golfer is coming into a green, the angle of the green from the front to the back, how that sets up. The whole key with us is variation. You know, don't create greens that are very similar, but at the same time, you don't want to get a tremendous amount of diversity in the greens on a golf course with respect to the contour, because then one or two might stand out. We really concentrate on bunker design and bunker aesthetics quite a bit.
One of the details of creating golf is obviously getting the landforms and the detail and the shapes and forms of the bunkers.
Taking the architect's design that he wants to build, staking it, coring it out of the hill.
After we dug it out with the big machines, we had crews in there just shoveling just like little ½ an inch off. And you even sometimes see the designer in there with the shovel, you know, just take it up to that next level.
On this particular course, we use 2 different types of fabric because of the steep faces to keep the sand in place, keep it from washing down into the well of the bunker.
The bunkers would really stand out. The contrast between the dark green turf and, in this case, the whiter sand is really striking. We really concentrate on looking at shadow lines, looking at the sand lines and where all those fall as part of the entire visual package of a golf hole.
Pre-grassing, we oversaw the fertility amendment application and incorporation. And then once the sod came, making sure the surface was smooth and ready for it.
Basically, I take it after the dozers have shaped it, and I take it to the final stages of grassing. Make sure your grades are going, the water's getting where it needs to go. Make sure everything's looking good.
The design and construction of cart paths is kind of a particular area of focus when a golf course is built. Obviously, when people play golf, nobody ever wants to see a cart path when you're playing and you're hitting a shot, but people want to be able to, and obviously need to drive on the cart path to circulate around the golf course. We settled on a washed aggregate cart path, which is a small rock material that they pour the cart path, and they hose off the surface of it, so you have exposed rock and hopefully a lot of color that comes out, and it's a more aesthetic experience and has some texture and feel under the wheels as opposed to just a plain concrete raked cart path.
We have 3 different types of grasses that we use here. The greens grass is what they call a dominant bent grass. It's used only for the putting surface itself.
Bent grass is the highest quality putting surface you can attain. It's fairly difficult to grow in this valley. There's only 4 to 5 courses that have it out of the 150 that are out here, so it takes a commitment, a lot of vigil in the summer. 328 Bermuda is the tightest Bermuda that is still spec'd for a fairway turf. We'll have better ball roll, better resiliency on the turf. So we spec'd what we felt were the superior grasses. We had a specific method of installation that was really pertinent to the bent grass. The contractor is looking purely for efficiency, and our interests remain solely in quality. So it was a constant struggle to slow the contractor down, have them use plywood
on all areas around the green, which wasn't their normal method, but that's how we had it done.
They're growing over 200 acres of turf out there, and it's necessary to have the proper system in there to irrigate that and keep it green throughout the year. First off, I survey and map the golf hole, which includes the features, the turf lines, the bunkers, the greens, and based on that mapping, I design a head layout to match those lines, and then I stake those head locations out in the field.
Because of all the contours that they have out here and what the people want to see, they have what they call wall-to-wall irrigation. That means from one landscape bed to the other. Everything is underground. Everything is run off of satellite clocks. The superintendent that'll take over will program into these controllers run times, conserve water, and also keep it from drying out.
Good time to be walking in a stream. Never get a chance to do this again. We'll have running water going in here within weeks.
There's probably 10 acres worth of water that we're putting in. We have a set of drawings planned out already. We get it excavated, and then we start doing our shaping and installation of our liners. The liners is the most important part, but nobody sees it.
Well, they lined up preserve the water, especially out here in the desert.
All the details add together to the finished product, and the water features were a big part of that out here, from a golf standpoint and from a development standpoint.
In many cases, the landscape's used to screen out the rest of the world, make the presence of homes less obtrusive, and views to neighboring developments go away, so that when you're in the golf environment, it's a golf-only experience.
Out here, since we are in the desert, we did have to pick varieties that were drought tolerant, and for not only the trees, but the shrubs as well.
Shrubs were in the neighborhood of 125,000 shrubs. Along with that, there's on the golf course alone around 90 acres of mulched shrub beds.
It's no secret that Discovery Land likes to do things in a big way, in a proper way, and in a very extravagant way. As far as, we look around, when you talk about landscaping, I mean, this is going to look like this place has been here for 100 years once it's all said and done.
Bridges require a lot more time than just the fabrication and installation of the bridge. There's a lot of attention we pay to bridges in terms of being important site details that emphasize the quality of the project or are consistent with the other architecture. In the plan, we designed locations for a total of 9 bridges, and we determined of the 7 key golf bridges that occur in the golf corridors, we had at least 4 bridges that to set with a crane would be very disruptive and damaging to the construction that was in place. So we have acquired the services of a helicopter to help us set 4 of the 7 bridges inside the golf course. It's a pretty exciting day when you have one of these sky cranes come over and actually pick these things up off the ground and set them down.
The vision behind Madison is just to be the best place of its kind anywhere.
It's the kind of place you're getting in your car, from wherever you're coming from, you just can't wait till you get to the gate.
The total environment is what's going to attract a lot of people to it, that you drive in the gate out there and what you enter here is something totally foreign than what's surrounding.
Just not a golf course, it's a story. And a story how this actual golf club came to be was a vision, of course, of Mr. Melman and Discovery and a vision of this land to actually create the best thing in the desert, and I think we've accomplished it.
Discovery has a tremendous commitment to quality. They've always wanted to create the absolute best. This is far above and beyond anything we've ever been associated with.
We always wanted it to be the best, every detail.
We can talk about it as much as we want, and we can tell you what we can do, but once you hit the ball on the first tee and you start walking or even driving down and you feel like you're somewhere that nowhere else in the desert feels like, you look around and see the mountains and don't really realize where you're at, the first word will come to your mind is, this is unbelievable.
It's not just one thing that's going to make it great. It's going to be the culmination of a million great things that make it great.
All those things kind of get together, and that's where our members and our golfers come away saying, gosh, that's the best experience I've ever had.
It's a big golf course. It's beautiful. It's got great vistas.
Oh, there's no doubt. First round at Madison, people will say, it's the best course I've ever played. It's the best environment I've ever been in. Gosh, they did it again.
All our clubhouses and projects are, they're themed to be indigenous to the area. You try to take advantage of the local culture and customs, and, you want to blend in and be part of the environment.
When I drive around the outskirts of this property, I see what it used to look like. It just doesn't seem possible.
Building this clubhouse during the worst financial crisis of our lifetime was, a bit scary, but, we had a commitment to quality and to the concept. And the clubhouse is probably the last of the old economy projects.
It's a very impressive place from a service standpoint, from a people standpoint, and from a member standpoint.
The clubhouse, I think, is beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of architecture. It functions, perfectly for our membership. And so, we took what we felt was the grand old mansions of Palm Beach and, Florida and parts of the South, and we transplanted it to the Coachella Valley. And, there's a lot of golf courses in the Palm Springs area, but there's no architecture like that. If you look at the concrete, the columns, and you look at the precast, it's truly art, and it, to me, represents a symbol of sophistication that I thought was appropriate for Madison.
Your locker room is the kind of the heartbeat of the club. That's where everything happens and starts and finishes, but there's not a place you can turn that's not a great spot. This area right in the main entryway to me is spectacular. I never get tired of looking at the mountains from here. All of our patio here looks over the 18th green in the golf course. And, people during the year sit here and just have a drink and just mesmerized by the beauty. And at night, some of the sunsets that come over here are truly spectacular. It is truly a special place.
Our clubs are much more intimate than a resort, so the level of service is so much more personal.
There's really nothing about the Madison Club that's less than perfect, and that's the interesting thing. The bar here is so high, and I tell people all the time, in order for us to raise the bar, we got to jump.
People ask, do you know it's going to turn out this good? And I always say, yeah, someone had to know. They just don't happen. We got a lot of people behind it making it great.
We are really able to do whatever it takes. We don't ever say, no, we can't do something. We'll figure out a way to do it.
We try to have everything that if a member asks for it and we don't have it, we'll try to have it for the next time they get there, or even that same day if it's possible for us. I think we did a good job. We do a good job trying to make the members feel great, comfortable here.
They call the Madison the home of the 5-pound round because there's things to eat everywhere you turn.
I think we're the only club I've ever seen that has a real sushi bar in the clubhouse.
This is the best food I've ever eaten in my life. I think anybody that comes in here will say the same thing.
The comfort stations at Madison are probably our best.
The fruit market truly is everybody's favorite place. It's always the most popular because the fruit is fresh, it's cold, and it's usually about that time of year round. It's just the perfect remedy.
Everyone's proud to be part of Madison, whether it's a member, whether it's a member's grandchild, whether it's an employee. Madison's a full integration of everything. And Madison, I don't think, would be as good as it is if everything didn't come together perfectly like it has.